Today I'm going to show you the key exercises that I use to teach the strict ring muscle up. So the strict ring muscle up is when we're underneath the rings in a false grip position. We pull up to our chest touches, we go through the transition to the bottom of the dip, and then we push out to the top of the dip. Now, if we're working towards a very strict, clean muscle up, one of the things we really need to make sure we have is good mobility through the spine. We want to be able to snake around the rings. So warming up with the foam roller is really important. So I'm going to roll back and forth first of all. I'm then going to start on my bottom rib. I'm going to hold onto my head and open up as much as I can towards the extension at each segment of the spine. So starting on the bottom rib, slowly making my way up the back. Now, if I find an area that's super tight, I'm going to try and spend more time there, open and close. Try not to compensate for your low back or your neck. Make your way all the way up the back. Remember, spend more time on the tight bits. Once you get up and down there, roll again over that area. This bit should start to feel easier and easier. If it's not, you need to spend more time with this one. It definitely took me a few months to get used to using the foam roller on a regular basis and really feel the benefit of doing it. But now it's part of my daily practice. And then a really good false grip warm up. So I'm making a tight fist, putting the knuckles together. I've also used the massage gun. I've started to do that more and more. It's an area that I need to spend more time on because I do way more pushing movements, so way more handstands than I do pull-in. So my forearms are very tight in the opposite direction where they need to be for a false grip muscle up. But with this stretch, just make sure the knuckles are together. You make a real tight fist, put the back of the hands on the floor, and then straighten as much as you can, open and closing for repetitions. Then I'll do a good scapular warm up. So hanging, so passively hanging for around 60 seconds. You should ideally be comfortable to hang there, ideally on one arm, but eventually work up to that. But to start with 2 arms, so you can hang shoulder width apart, you can hold for time there. Once we get that down, or elevating and depressing the shoulder blades with these active passive hangs, moving up and down with the arms straight, you go a little bit wider, and you could retract and depress the scapula with some arching scap pulls. Get really comfortable doing variations of that. Some scap push-ups on the floor, so protracting, retracting for around 5 to 10 repetitions. Just make sure you stay nice and strong with these ones. If they're hard, go down onto the knees. Then we need to warm up for the strength movement, so I'm going to go through 3 sets of 3 repetitions of chin-ups, chest to the ring, full hang at the bottom, 3 repetitions. Should be nice and comfortable. If it's not, you definitely need to work on your strength if you want to get a nice strict muscle up. So superset that with 3 dips. Again, should be nice and comfortable on the rings. So full range of motion. Okay, now into the skill conditioning. So we need to do conditioning work for the false grip itself. So I'm chalking up. I'm chalking up like this. This is where I want the ring to sit. And I do that on both sides. And I'm going to superset a false grip chin up. Now, if that's too hard, you could do a false grip row. And I'm going to superset that with muscle up transitions. So the false grip chin, I'm going to make sure that I get a strong false grip position on the ring. I'm going to turn the rings out, go into a dead hang position, pull up, chest to touch the ring, turn out, chest to touch the ring. So 3 to 5 repetitions there. And then I'm setting the rings up so I'm on tippy toes at the bottom of my dip. I'm sitting there, like if I lift it up, that's exactly where I'll be for the bottom of that dip position. I'm leaning forward so my shoulders and my bicep are touching the rings. I'm keeping the rings into my torso. I'm then going to transition around. Now look at the rotation. Look how I'm opening up to the top of the chin up. There's the top of the chin up. Toes are still on the floor, so I have some weight there, but I'm in a false grip position on the rings, keeping the rings nice and close, still in contact with the chest, and then I pull back through to the bottom of the dip again. And then I'm going to go between those 2 positions for 10 reps. And notice I'm keeping the rings very close to my chest. Then a short rest, and then I'm going to go back to the false grip chin-ups again. So repeat the same thing again. Make sure you have that strong false grip position. Chest touches, turn the rings out at the bottom. 3 to 5 repetitions. Double check these straps haven't moved too far out because they can slide on these bars. And then I go between that bottom of the dip, top of the chin up, making sure I get a strong false grip at the bottom. Make sure you're going around the ring. pushing the chest through, but you like snake from the chin up to the bottom of the dip. 10 repetitions. Over time, you can put more weight into the hands, less weight in the feet. But you want that to be snappy, and you're not even thinking about it. Because when you pull up to that top of the chin up, you want the transition to be part of that same movement till you get to the bottom of the dip, and then you just push back out. Now, if those movements feel weak for you, I'd make sure you start to hit those for around 3 to 5 sets of quality work. And they're the main two things that I think will fill the gaps on the transition. As long as your dip is strong enough and as long as your chin up is strong enough, then add that transition and you've got your muscle up. Next, I'll go into eccentrics. So with the eccentrics, we want to start at the top of the dip, want to slowly go down to the bottom of the dip, then pull through, keep the rings nice and close, find that false grip, top of the chin up, come down nice and slowly, turn the rings out. Now that's the ideal. Now obviously I can do a muscle up, so I can do the eccentrics okay. But if you struggle with that one, you could use toe assist, so you could put your toes down at some point. You could have higher rings with your feet on a box like that. You could have someone assist you or spot you on the way down, either holding your back as you come through the transition or holding underneath your feet. Just make sure you try and do most of the work yourself and make the transition to look like the transitions that you were just practicing. Make sure you're keeping the rings nice and close and they're not going out to the side. If you can get a really slow eccentric, then I'll go straight into trying a concentric on your next one. So start below the rings, either from a seated position if you're on low rings like this, or a hanging position if you have higher rings, and then just pull till your chest touches the ring and go straight through that transition. And then push out. Now make sure you video yourselves from the side, so it's very common that people start the transition too early, so they don't actually get to this point before they start, or they do get to this point and then they just rest, think about what they're doing for too long, and don't ride that momentum through. So video yourself and watch yourself in slow motion, try and work out where you're missing the gap. Then either go back to your slow eccentrics, or you could try yo-yos. So yo-yos is when you start at the top, come down, go backwards a little bit, and then come back to the bottom of the dip again and back up. Now you could obviously just go a little bit further through the movement and back again. Or you could get some assistance through the concentric, so you could be spotted again underneath your shins and someone push you through the movement. You could get them to push through your back through that transition. You could use toe assist by kneeling down on the floor or kneeling on a box with your feet hanging off the edge of the box, push through your toes to help you through the movement. You could make a seat out of a band and bounce through the movement, so a little bounce there. Just watch with that one, you could use a little bit too much momentum coming from the bounce. But I definitely really concentrate on those real slow eccentrics, the false grip chin ups, and those transitions on the toes, because I believe they're the real gateway to get that ring strict muscle up. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.